And responding to WION's report, BJP's GVL Narasimha Rao has questioned Congress over the appointment of Khawar Qureshi in 2004. WION on 19th May had reported that Khawar Qureshi, the lawyer who represented Pakistan at the ICJ in Jadhav case, also represented India at the World Court during the UPA rule. Qureshi was selected by the Congress-led UPA government to represent India in the arbitration proceedings by an American firm over the controversial Dabhol power plant.
Legal team that was putting India's case in an arbitration case in the International Court of Arbitration, and this was a case filed by the Enron company, which actually commenced, which was a major investor in the Dabhol power project, which actually came into being when the Congress-led government was in power, when the Congress was in power in Maharashtra. And presenting India's case at this international arbitration proceedings was none other than Mr. Qureshi, Khawar Qureshi, who represented Pakistani case at the ICJ only about a week ago. Indian government did not find any lawyer of Indian origin to present its case in now in the international arbitration proceedings, and incidentally they found only a Pakistani origin lawyer to present India's case. So certainly when the Congress party raises questions about the Make in India initiative, I think one really cannot but come to the conclusion that the Congress party seems to have respect only for made in Pakistan lawyers and not for Make in India lawyers. So this is a case of sheer hypocrisy. It was a very sensitive case. This was a very prestigious case. So why was the Congress party-led government at the center? Why did they have to hire a Pakistani origin lawyer to fight its case, a very sensitive case, where the India's image was involved, where a large amount of money was being sought by a foreign company? So Congress party cannot simply call this a professional decision. It has to explain as to why it had shown that kind of confidence and respect and love for Pakistani lawyers, and the latest case of ICJ, where India won a major suit in ICJ with Harish Salve representing India and earning the entire praise of the world. Today, Congress has to explain to the country as to why they had a trust only in a Pakistani origin lawyer and did not hire anyone from the Indian side.
And to bring our viewers up to speed with what we're tracking right now, WION on 19th May had reported that Khawar Qureshi, the lawyer who represented Pakistan at the ICJ in the Jadhav case, also represented India at the World Court during the UPA rule. And Qureshi was selected by the Congress-led UPA government to represent India in the arbitration proceedings by an American firm over the controversial Dabhol power plant. And we heard there from GV Narasimha Rao, who said that the Congress needs to come out with answers, tell the public as to why a Pakistan origin lawyer was selected to represent the then UPA government in the arbitration proceedings of the Dabhol power plant, a much contentious issue back then. We have our senior associate editor, Palki Sharma Upadhyay, on the phone line. Palki, you heard the BJP making certain allegations and saying that if you consistently criticize Make in India for Modi's ambitious Make in India, whatever happened to, getting a lawyer from a Made in India lawyer, and rather than taking a Pakistan origin lawyer?
Right. I'm sure you've shared with our viewers the facts of the case, Jessica. The point is that many said he was one of the best lawyers. But the point is also this, that this is a Pakistani lawyer, Pakistani origin lawyer, with whom I'm assuming, shared details of a very, very sensitive case. And that is what raises suspicion, because the legal team was changed when Congress came to power in 2004. On whose advice was this team changed? Was due diligence done? Did the fact that the lawyer who was representing India at the International Court of Justice of Pakistani origin, was this fact known to the decision makers? Did it come under any sort of scrutiny? What kind of confidential papers changed hands? Are very serious questions. Hansraj Bharadwaj was the law minister at that point. The then Attorney General was also part of this decision, I understand. But no one from the Congress party or from the then UPA has spoken out or spoken up to explain their side of the story, and there are a lot of questions hanging.
Absolutely, Palki. Do stay with us. We also have a senior international correspondent, Padma Rao, joining us from the newsroom here. Padma, my question to you, this is the complete, a jibe at the Congress party. We heard the BJP talk about the issues that they've raised, that why would you sort of elect a Pakistan origin lawyer and not an Indian one? So do you think this issue is being blown out of proportion, or further investigations have to be made now?
Well, I think the UPA owes the country an explanation. It owes millions of Indians who were very hurt and very, and grieving Indians between 1998 and 2004, 2005, when Barrister Qureshi was employed by the government. As you know, there were a spate of terrorist incidents. There were car bombs in Bombay. There was the Akshardham temple blast. There were all kinds of things. And the parliament attack, it was the most audacious attack. And dozens of security men died in all these attacks, and also innocent civilians. And these were all at the behest of groups, terrorist groups living in Pakistan, trained by Pakistan, and partly infiltrated into India by Pakistan. So there was a public sentiment there. It's only about that. This is not about Barrister Qureshi's credentials. He has undoubtedly excellent credentials. It is also not about the freedom of a given government to employ a foreign lawyer when there is an arbitration proceeding against that government on foreign soil. That is routine procedure. But a private company hiring a lawyer like that, an Indian company hiring a Pakistani lawyer, that's an entirely different kettle of fish altogether. We're talking about the government of India, which was under the United Progressive Alliance at that time. I have something to add to this, which is rather interesting, Jessica. The whole project itself was mired in controversy, as you know. And in fact, it was so controversial that even the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, had a classified report, a confidential report on all the details of this project. And though it goes into heavy technicality, which really deal more with the project than with what we're discussing now, just two things it says. It says that the DPC, the Double Power Corporation's long history as a lightning rod for anti-foreign and anti-multinational corporation sentiment makes it difficult for either the state or the central government, in this case the state of Maharashtra, to deal with DPC without attracting charges of selling out to foreign interests or bowing to US pressure. So if there could have been that amount of sensitivity and, if we were that prickly about foreign interests, specifically US pressure, then, I find it really peculiar that we were completely unaware of the fact that there is public sentiment that weighs heavily against Pakistan at that point in time, and that, there could have been, he could have been the best lawyer available, but why wasn't there an adequate search for an Indian lawyer on par in terms of excellence?
Absolutely, Padma. That question still remains unanswered. But we spoke to a senior Congress leader yesterday, and he said that these are baseless allegations and you're blowing the issue out of proportion. It was a professional choice and not necessary about, not keeping in account public sentiment. So how do you see this, coming out from here on now?
Well, nobody's making any allegation against the Congress party or the UPA. We're not saying, that, oh, you hired a lawyer, behind the scenes and you didn't tell anyone about it. That's not the point. The point is, what were you thinking, UPA? What was on your mind? How could you be so insensitive to the mood in the country and the anger that prevailed in this country? And had people known, let's say, for instance, the poor families of all the personnel who were slain in those attacks coming from Pakistan, how would they have felt knowing that the very same government of India is going right ahead with hiring a lawyer whose antecedents happen to be in Pakistan?
Absolutely, Padma. Thank you for joining us on the broadcast and giving us those valuable details and inputs.